FlossTube, and welcome to Fairy Tales and French Knots, a channel about cross-stitch. I'm Erin, your host, and I'm here to talk long enough that my family will wonder what I'm up to, but not so long that you can't watch me on your lunch break. So this is episode 15, and I haven't recorded a video since sometime last year. It is now March 30th of 2023. So if you were watching, I think it was like September of last year, I posted some things in progress and talked a little bit about some things I had coming up, some plans. So I'm going to start with my finishes because I have some. I actually have lots of them. And first of all, I think in my last video, I talked about a scissor doll by Rami's Creations. I did finish that. So here is the scissor doll. And you can see she's got her little pocket. So she's been finished and fully finished and assembled. I did not use the kit fabric for the back, but I like the dark blue with the little mushrooms and the snails. So I think she came out super cute. I have not, however, finished her partner, who, if I do it on 40 count as I'm planning, should fit in the little pocket. So that's on my list of things to do this year. So she's finished. The other thing I did last fall was craft show. And my daughter's school music program has a craft show. All the funds from the vendor fees and everything go to the music boosters and their musical theater program, which I wholeheartedly support. So I put together a display for that. I didn't sell a whole lot. I had great plans. They didn't happen. And a lot of people looked at things and told me how nice they were and how they used to stitch once too, but they didn't buy things. However, a lot of you who I know on Facebook and Instagram did buy some of my, what I've started calling ornamugs. And for that, thank you, thank you, thank you. Not only did I get a couple bucks, I got rid of a whole lot of craft things in boxes. So I do have some left, and I just wanted to show them off. So if anybody needs an idea for a teacher gift or something to make for a thing, maybe a round robin blind exchange at a stitching retreat, something like that. So what happened was my mother and I both love to go to yard sales and thrift shops and find cute coffee mugs. So we have tons of them now because we got really addicted to that. So this is like this one, little guy here, little snowman, and super cute, holiday-ish. And I would stitch ornaments that coordinated with the mugs. So here's a little snowman, and he fits in the mug, and he falls out. But you know, what I did is I put them in plastic bags so that they would stay. And there is, this one actually is kind of squashed. There's like filler in there to hold them so they don't tip out like that. But yeah, I'd put them up on the table and sell them for, I had them marked $10 a piece. And I think I sold, I had over a dozen of them, and I think I sold 5 or 6. So that was nice. Obviously, I didn't sell all of them. They're still here, and I'm thinking about doing another craft show. So what are you going to do? But I'm going to go with my current finishes because I know a lot of my whips that I showed in earlier videos are still whips. That's how it goes. They're still in the box. And there's new stash. There's always new stash. One thing I did show, I'm not sure if it was my last video that I did or next to last, but I did show off this drum that I finished. It's a very large drum. It is my take on Primitive Hare's Fracture Family, and it's got, you know, top and bottom, solid little sucker. I entered it in my county craft fair, or I'm sorry, county fair. And I won first place. I was also the only entry in the counted cross stitch category. But, you know, a win is a win, and it got counted cross stitch out there, and people saw it on the table when they were walking through the fair exhibits, and I got a blue ribbon and 10 whole dollars. So that's a thing. What I've been up to lately, I've been trying to get away from all of the holiday ornament stitching for a little while. So first thing I started this year was actually Sea Hag by Plum Street Samplers, and I don't have that right here available to show off. Soon after I started it, I'm doing it on a 40 count fabric from, I think it's from Fiber on a Whim, and it's really tightly woven, and it gets very frustrating to work on for much more than about 15 or 20 minutes, and then I just have to walk away. So it's going to be a slow moving piece. But I also picked up a Blackbird Designs Home of the Brave pattern, which I found out later is evidently very hard to come by. But here's my finished finish of that design. And this I mounted on a board and made the little fabric flounce and yo-yos to accentuate it. I did this entirely in my own colors. If you ever see the pattern, it's stitched entirely in reds. Actually, I think it's stitched entirely in a DMC red, and I'm not a fan of that, especially for the flag. Like, I looked at the flag and I went, an all red flag is wrong. I can't do that. So then once I had done the field for the stars in blue, I went, well, I need more colors than that. So for that piece, it's also on a 40 count too. I used Weeks Old Glory for the alphabet. And everything else is, I think it's all Rami's Creations threads. So that red, oh no, actually the red is gassed cherry wine. But the dark brown is Teddy Bear, the light brown is Brown Sugar, and the blue is Stacy's Primitive Blue, all from Rami. So again, there's my finish. I also changed the bottom because the pattern has the date stitched in letters or a font more like the letters. I didn't have enough fabric. I counted wrong. So I made up my own little numbers and added my initials. And then I was on a house kick. So then I worked on a pattern called Moonlight in Vermont by Lavender Wings. Lavender Wings has a series called Little Bits. So this is Moonlight in Vermont. And when I look at this piece, I think it looks like what you'd see when you look out a window, like looking over at your neighbor's house. So I found this nifty frame that looks like a door, and I put it in the top, and the bottom of the door, I think it's supposed to look like an old wooden antique screen, but it didn't have this. However, down in our basement, I found a roll of old wire mesh, and I just super glued a piece of it to the back, and now it looks like a screen door. So again, that's Moonlight in Vermont by Lavender Wings. And then I saw Tiny Modernist's Mouse. I love the Mouse series. I think they are absolutely adorable. And I started with Mouse's Lucky Day right here. It is stitched on, I think that's a 28 count something that was in a box. And I used all of my own colors. Again, I didn't have the called for stuff, but I used a lot of over dyes there. And then I mounted it like a little ornament. So you could hang it if you wanted. You could put it in a basket of seasonals if you wanted. So there's that. But the piece I am most proud of, that I am just, the reason I'm making this video, honestly, because I am meeting the recipient of this gift this weekend. So I have to make a video now if I want everyone to see this. Um, it's one of my jewelry boxes. So I know I've, in my earlier videos, shown you some of my rehabbed jewelry boxes. Well, I have a friend who I've made things for in the past. He's kind of a brother of the heart, I guess you could say. He's not family, but he's my little brother. And he gave me this old jewelry box that his aunt, I believe, was trying to sell at their yard sale, and it didn't sell because it was gross. It was lined with this old orange felt that was completely nasty, and the box was wood colored, or wood, like a natural wood finish, but all nicked up and just gross. And the top was an old piece of tapestry. So the first thing I did was try to get rid of the tapestry. And I I whacked it with a hammer, because inside, instead of having those nice little screwed in brackets or even little metal clips that I could pull apart, it had a mirror that was all glued together. So I was left going, I don't know how to get this apart without making a mess. And an opportunity to make a mess is always fun. So I took it out in the garage and hit it with a hammer. The lid promptly broke. I mean, not only did the tapestry and the mirror inside come out, the frame broke at one of the corner joints, the top of the box. So I had to glue that back together, and then I painted it, and I picked a pattern to stitch for the center. And if you follow me on Instagram or Facebook or anywhere else where I've posted, actually I haven't blogged in like years, so I didn't post it there. But you may have seen this, because I absolutely love this piece. And so my friend, he loves the Little Prince for several reasons. He identifies with the prince a lot. And I like the story too. However, I tend to identify with the fox. So it's been kind of our little thing between us that we talk about sometimes. And I decided to try to find a pattern of the Little Prince. They're really hard to come by. There is one Cricut collection pattern that is the quote about what is essential is invisible to the eye. But there were no patterns that fit the box that I had and looked the way I wanted them to, until I started playing on Etsy. And I did find a pattern. It was by, let me see if I wrote it down, an Etsy seller called Sunny Cloud Studio. So I'll link that below if anyone's interested after they see this. And this is the pattern and the box. So there is the Little Prince and the fox on the lid of the box. And this box was brown, like, natural wood brown. I spray painted it with 2 different colors of blue paint, because I bought one and put it on and then realized it was too like Crayola bright blue and I wanted night blue. The original pattern here is stitched on black, and I was not going to stitch over 1 on black, because this is stitched over 1 on 28 count to make it fit. And I still had to modify where the moon is a little bit to make it a little bit shorter. And the other thing, I don't know if I can zoom in enough and get this to focus so you can see, but right there, right above the prince's head, stop focusing on me, is some kind of gemstone. And that was actually inside the jewelry box when I took it apart, because it had one of those ring beds, and the ring bed was also nasty. So as I was tearing it out, this little, I think it's a diamond, fell out. And I don't know if it was, you know, like a little earring or what, but it is actually cut to a point at the back, which they don't normally do with cubic zirconia or decorative glass pieces. But who knows? It doesn't really matter. But I made a little eyelet there and then nested the stone down into the eyelet and glued it there. So there's the prince and the fox looking at the planet. And then inside, I redid the inside too. The fabric is all constellations, and this is more of the blue velveteen, same as I showed in one of the earliest boxes I shared on this channel, actually. It's from the 89-cent thrift store pajama pants. And then this in the top is a quote where when the prince is about to leave the planet and go back to his planet where his rose is, and the fox they've been talking about being tamed and being friends and what that means. And the fox says he will be sad because his friend is leaving. And the prince says, well, then what's the point of being friends, of making those connections, if you're just going to be sad? And the fox tells him, before I knew you, I hunted chickens and I avoided the hunters. And I really didn't care about the wheat fields because I don't eat wheat. I don't care about wheat. But now, when I see the wheat fields, they will remind me of the color of your hair. So when he says, what good is it to be friends? The fox says, well, it has done me good because of the color of the wheat fields, because I will remember you when I see them. And I really like that. So that's the inside of the top. And the chain is because my hinges will fall backward otherwise. And that is actually sewn to that, and it's sewn inside as well so that it won't pull out. So there's that. And then the drawer, you can see I also replaced all of the hardware on the front. These are non-functional at the top, and these are functional. They're little blue beads with a gold straight pin in them. And that drawer is the same with the lining. And on the back, whoop, it's upside down, hang on. On the back is the quote that a lot of people know. It's actually the one that is the Cricut collection piece, which is, it is only with the heart that one can see clearly. What is essential is invisible to the eye. And the fox says that. So I wrote it on the bottom of the drawer, so it is invisible to the eye. And I'm so excited to give him this. He's been watching the progress on it too, because I can't keep a secret to save my life, really. And he's absolutely thrilled with it too. Oh, there's the very bottom. I signed it and I put felt on it so it doesn't mark up things. But that is my oh so exciting piece of work. And I don't know about the rest of you, but when I've made something that I'm giving to someone and I put a lot of thought into it, that's just my favorite thing in the whole world. I mean, I made tons of ornaments for a craft show and a couple of them sold, and that was great, but this is better. So that's really all I've got for today, and I'll try to come back more often with more to show, because I've been doing a little bit more stitching, trying to make it about part of my day more often. And the other thing I'm going to say, if you're watching this on the 31st, is go look at what inspired me to post today. The other thing, aside from that box, was watching D20. Because tomorrow is Trans Day of Visibility, and D is an awesome artist, and I really want to copy it tunesies. So I'm going to put a plug in for D here, and I'll see you all later. Bye.